The big race on day 3 is the Stayers Hurdle, the 3:30 run over 3 miles. 12 hurdles will be jumped and the winner will be picking up a whooping £194,000. What a tasty pot that is. And the roll of honour for this race is pretty awesome too. Big Bucks won it 4 years in a row for Paul Nicholls. What a star he was from 2009 to 2012. Prior to that, English Drever won it 2 years in a row. Then we had the almighty Barracuda. I still remember that race at Ascot with Dino's Beano, trained by Martin Pipe, ridden by Tony McCoy, down the champion that day. That was a while ago now. God, I've been around a while, off camera. And then we had Anzum for the late David Nicholson. And most recently, Thistlecrack, who's unfortunately had some injuries. But Thistlecrack was a hell of a winner back in 2016. Last year's winner, Nichols Canyon, RIP Nichols Canyon, a true champion. Now, an interesting stat here from the RUK website. Winners of this race tend to come into the content fresh. Not since My Way to Solzen in 2006 has the winner been in racecourse action within the previous 6 weeks. So you're looking at a 42-day break for the last 12 years that has sourced the winner. That is pretty interesting. Favourites do well here. Obviously, Big Bucks. The youngest winners have been 6-year-olds. Cole Harden, more of that. Big Bucks, My Way to Solzen, English Drever, Bacchanal. So 6-year-olds do fairly well. Let's have a look at the Stayers Hurdle. Let's try and find the winner. It's a very competitive race. There's still a few ifs, ums and buts about who's definitely going to line up. But we'll do our best to cover them all. So the current betting for the Stayers Hurdle: Sam Spinner's a 5-1 shot, Super Spinner 5-1, Yanni Yanworth top price 6-1, Apples Jade, she's going for the mares, Penn Hill's an 8-1 winner, a Cheltenham Festival winner last year. The old boy, you know what I mean, Harry, 12-1, Lammy Surge 12-1, he's broken a few hearts, hasn't he? Then you've got Bacardi's at 12s, the new one 12-1, will he ever win? A huge one. Holstone, the top price 16s. Forheen doesn't run. Labago Rob, Warren Greytrix was angling her towards the mare's hurdle today. And then it's 25-1 bar. But let's kick off talking about Jessica Harrington's horse here, Super Sunday, who downed Forheen at the Leopardstown Racing Festival. Go on, the orange! Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, Yanworth! Come on, Yanworth, pick him up! Come on, Barry! Come on, Barry! Come on, Barry! Go on, Yanni. I love you, Yanni. Where's the haters? Where's the haters? Where's the haters? Where's the haters? Go on, Yanni Yanworth! You beauty! Oh, gee. Oh, no! He's hanging! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! Where's the... With your 5-1 co-favourite, Super Sunday, trained by Jessica Harrington. He's an 8-year-old who comes into the race off of a 40-day break. And on a career high, he beat Forheen the Machine at Leopardstown in the Irish Champion Hurdle. It was somewhat of a shock. Forheen disappointed, but Super Sunday picked up the pieces. Now, he's had a 40-day break. I just talked about how horses with a 42-day break or more do extremely well. I think he's pretty much on the pinnacle of that, and we'll let him off. Now, this horse actually won a bumper at Ascot back in the year 2014, beating none other than Yanni Yanworth. Now, they both line up here in the Stayers Hurdle. That is quite funny in itself. He was trained by Henry de Bromhead, won a novice hurdle at Leopardstown, has since been transferred to Jessica Harrington. Carried on his education there, went to the Cheltenham Festival last year, won the Coral Cup off a mark of 148. That was a really decent performance, powered clear jumping the last. There was money around for him that day, and Super Sunday's done nothing but improve. Went straight to Aintree after that, gave me a heart attack, where he challenged and nearly beat Yanni Yanworth. Yanworth pulled out a bit more that day, but Super Sunday showed he's no handicapper. He's actually a graded performer. That was a cracking run. This year, he started off his campaign running third behind Apples Jade in the Hatton's Grace. The late Nichols Canyon was in that race. It was a decent contest. Went on to show he'd improved next time up. Took on Apples Jade again. Remember, she was receiving the handy £7 mare's allowance in the squared financial Christmas hurdle. There was only half a length between the two of them that day. A few of the hurdles were omitted. And Super Sunday showed he's got a lot of class. Now, dropping back to 2 miles next time, I didn't think he'd have the speed. I was hoping we'd see the real Forheen. Forheen didn't really show his true colours. Super Sunday out-battled him, outdone him towards the line and won by, in the end, a comfortable 2 1/4 lengths going away. He's a horse with speed, he's a horse with stamina, he's a horse with class, and I think at the age of 8, we potentially haven't seen the best of Jessica Harrington's horse here. He obviously likes Cheltenham, he goes on soft ground, he goes on good ground. He's undoubtedly very, very justifiable at the head of the market. Now, 5 to 1 each way, especially if some firms go 4 to 1, would look very, 4 places. That 5 to 1 would look good if some firms go 4 places each way. I think Super Sunday goes there with an outstanding chance, whichever way you look at it. Jessica's horses are in good form. She had a winner in Jesky today over in Ireland, and I think Super Sunday is set to run a big race. Let me know what you think about Super Sunday. All his form stacks up really well, doesn't it? Co-favourite is Sam Spinner, trained by Jed O'Keefe, and this is a fascinating horse. He's only had the 7 runs over hurdles, and here he is in the Stayers hurdle, co-favourite with Super Sunday. The horses, the co-second favourite is Sam Spinner, trained by Jed O'Keefe. This is a very lightly raced horse, only having the 7 runs over hurdles. And here he is, co-favourite for the Stayers for a small yard. You have to ask yourself, if he was trained by a more fashionable yard, would he be shorter in the betting? I think so. Sam Spinner's progression this year has been nothing short of tremendous. In December of 2016, he was beaten in a novice hurdle by Mount News, and since then, the only way has been up. Hammered Master of Irony, went to Catterick, absolutely hacked up in a little fair novice hurdle there, beating Reverend Crust. But this year, he's been a revelation. Went to Chepstow back in October, off a marker 136. Got beaten a half a length by Court Minstrel. Next time up, he went to Haydock over 3 miles in the Stayers handicap. It was a grade 3 race, and he absolutely destroyed his field by 17 lengths. There's some decent horses in that race. The Dutchman, No Hasselhoff, Theo's Charm, The World's End, 3 Musketeers. I mean, these horses aren't mugs, but he powered clear, showed he stays really well, shows he loves soft ground, and shows he's no 139 rated horse. Now, next time, they chucked him in at the deep end at Ascot, the long walk, and again, he answered every question. You had, you know what I mean, Harry back in 3rd, Lammy Surge was 2nd, The World's End was 4th, Thomas Campbell, who's won multiple handicaps at Cheltenham this year, was back in 5th, and the admirable Lil Rockefeller in 6th. The form stacks up really, really well. He made all the running, he got to the front, he kept on pulling away from Lammy Surge, done it off level weights in a grade 1, as it would be. And you know, for this horse to only have had the 7 runs, he's only a 6-year-old, you'd have to think there's a lot more to come from Sam Spinner. He's a justifiable co-5 to 1 favourite. The only negative you could kind of say about Sam Spinner is he hasn't run at Cheltenham. But that, for me, wouldn't be too much of a negative. What I would like to see is genuine soft ground for this horse. He obviously revels in heavy conditions. The more rain, the better for this son of Black Sam Bellamy. Sam Spinner, Jed O'Keefe. It could be a winner for a smaller yard, just like Kalashnikov and Amy Murphy. Right, next up is Yanni Yanworth, top price 6 to 1. He's pushing for co-favouritism, but he's not quite there. He's a course and distance winner for Alan King, an 8-year-old, and he hits that pinnacle of having a 73-day break. We all know a lot about Yanworth. I've napped him up. I've had some great wins on the horse. I've had a few heartbreaking moments as well. This year, he's been chasing just like Fillian's Oscar, but they've decided to go back to hurdling. And I think that's the right decision. His jumping leaves a bit to be desired. I think he's a far better hurdler. And look, you've got a horse who won a grade 1 at Aintree. You know, why not keep him over hurdles? He's obviously very high class. He's beaten horses like the new one, been 2nd to York Hill, beaten Charabelle. He's got a lot of class about him, has Yanni Yanworth. This year, he's been jumping a bit. Went to Newbury, got beat by Willoughby Court. On his last start over at Cheltenham, it was New Year's Day, we unleashed a maximum win bet. The White Dove was out, 200 quid at 9 to 4. We got the price, he went off 15 to 8. And he scraped home to beat Sizing Tennessee. Idled when he hit the front. Now, the most interesting form line with Yanni Yanworth is going back to Liverpool last year on the 8th of April. He beat Super Sunday by a length, And I think that form line there is very strong. These are two very good stayers, and I think they hold the key to the race with Sam Spinner. Wherever Super Sunday is, wherever Yanworth is, I don't think there's going to be a lot between the pair. Yanworth goes on any ground, soft, good to soft, heavy. He's proven it, he's been there, he likes Cheltenham. I think Yanworth has to be considered one of the strongest contenders for the Stayers Hurdle. Let me know, are you happy with Alan King's decision to go back over hurdles rather than stay over fences? Well done, Alan, you've made the right decision. Up in the betting is Pen Hill, a Cheltenham Festival winner from last year, trained by the master Willie Mullins. He's a 7-year-old, owned by one of the biggest gamblers on planet Earth in Tony Bloom. If you don't know who Tony Bloom is, I would suggest going on Google, but you won't find out a lot about him. He's one of the most successful gamblers of all time. He's been in the game forever, and he knows a thing or two about the Asian handicaps. Tony Bloom, when the money's down, you'd probably want to follow it. Money's come for this horse in the last few weeks, 14-1 down to 8-1. Like I said, he was a Cheltenham Festival winner last year. Beat Monolith in the Albert Bartlett. He stays very well. He's got a turn of foot, has Pen Hill. And that Cheltenham form last year is pretty decent. Monolith's been a good chaser this year. Holstone's franked the form. Elegant Escapes won a few decent races. Tommy Rapper. Pen Hill has quite a lot of class. Now, he comes into this race having had a break of 323 days. I think the fact he's trained by Willie Mullins, that for me wouldn't be a worry at all. You know, he comes here fresh. He'll be trained to the minute by the King. He's been over the flat, this horse. He's been running in novice hurdles. He's been all over the place. He's had a lot of runs on the flat. And you have to say that Pen Hill looks to have been trained specifically to win this race. I think he's an interesting contender. He's got form on good ground. He's won at Limerick on heavy ground. And he still seems to be improving, this son of Mount Nelson. I think Pen Hill will run a big race. I'm pretty sure Ruby Walsh will ride him. And it's going to be interesting to see what price he goes off on the day. Will Tony Bloom be getting stuck in to Pen Hill? Will Tony Bloom's millions be on? Will they? Available at 12-1 is You Know What I Mean Harry for Harry Fry. He's been a bit disappointing this year, if I'm honest. He was third behind Sam Spinner at Ascot. Everything was in his favour that day, and quite frankly, he didn't deliver. Prior to that, he was second to Beer Goggles in the long distance, grade 2 there. Again, he had everything in his favour that day, and he disappointed. I think it's a simple question. Age is catching up with You Know What I Mean Harry. He's had an 82-day break. He hits that pinnacle of being fresh as a course and distance winner. It wouldn't be the biggest surprise if he made me eat humble pie. But for me, You Know What I Mean Harry is a no-go in the Stayers. Next up's a horse who's broken my heart more times than my ex-girlfriend's, Lamy Serge, trained by Nicky Henderson. This French recruit, he's an 8-year-old now, and he's done a few people's brains in over the years. But one thing Lamy Serge does have is class when he wants to put it in. He's an interesting horse because Lamy Serge has winning form at Oi Toy over 3 Mile 1 in very soft ground. He was second at Cheltenham last year in the county, off a mark of 152, over 2 miles and 1. So he's obviously got speed, he's obviously got stamina in abundance. At times, you know, Lamy's mind has left a lot to be desired. And what was the race that he absolutely killed me? It was when he was second, that's it, on New Year's Day 2017, behind Agrapat. He came there absolutely cruising, and he didn't want to know, and yeah, left me in a dire state sitting on my living room floor. I had a good bet on him that day. It was pretty sickening. Most recently, ran at Doncaster over 3 miles in the Sky Bet handicap chase, and he was a monster gamble. 8-1 into 13-8 for Davy Russell. Broke more punters' hearts that day. Got going far too late. But he was second to Sam Spinner at Ascot in the long walk, and he was only beaten 2 3/4 lengths. I think the softer the going, the better for Lamy Serge. He takes a bit of time to get going, but he's one of these interesting horses. You could never truly write him off. You just don't know what Lamy Serge is going to do. You don't know what Lamy Serge is going to turn up. But, you know, he's got really good form. He was third in the JLT behind Black Hercules and Bristol Demai. Second in the county. Obviously likes Cheltenham. You could see Lamy Serge running a huge race here, and I wouldn't put anybody off backing him for Nicky Henderson, who's in bloody terrific form. So what can I say about the new one? He's a bloody terrific horse. He's 10 years old now. He's had his day. It never came. Quite simply, the new one's a legend. He's won about 50 billion trillion pounds in prize money. But is he going to win the Stayers Hurdle? No, he's not. The Cheltenham Festival race that he won was back in the day, the Neptune, where he beat Rule the World, who actually went on to win a Grand National. Probably, in my opinion, they should have stepped him up in trip earlier. He comes into the race in good form. He just beat Chittabello over at Haydock. Second to Bouvedere, second to My Tent. Do I see him winning this race? No. Do I see him placing? I don't think so. He's had a 54-day break. He's a course winner. But for me, the new one is not today. Let me know your opinions on the new one. I know he splits opinions between people. I'll tell you one thing, you wouldn't mind owning him, would you? Over £1 million in prize money. The new one makes it rain. Get down to the nitty gritty of the Stayers hurdle on Thursday to 3:30. You guessed it, I'm sticking with a horse that winds a lot of you up. Yanni Yanworth, the Orange Machine. How can I desert my good old friend at this stage? He's back over hurdles. He's a course and distance winner. He's had a 73-day break. Allen's freshened him up. I think Yanworth's going to see those hurdles and go, thank God I'm not jumping those chases, boys. He's a real decent horse. He's already beaten Super Sunday. And I think everything's right for Yanworth. He's an 8-year-old. He's a strong horse. And he travels extremely well in his races. I'm hoping that Barry Geraghty gets a right old tune out of him. And at 6-1, I think he's still a fairly decent each-way play. Main danger, I think that form line going all the way back to Ascot with Super Sunday in the bumper could come to fruition. It could be a 1-2 with Yanworth and Super Sunday. It's going to be a great race. This race is open to a lot of different opinions. I want to know who you think's going to win. Let me know down below. Who's going to win the Stayers? Or are you not having a bet? Of course you're having a bet. It's the Cheltenham Festival. Be sure to check me out on Twitter at Racingblogger, where there's loads of daily discussions and hot topics in the racing world. We chuck in a bit of football now and again as well. See you all at Cheltenham. We're only 4 days out. By the one and only Robbie Power. Robbie, a highlight for you yesterday was Super Sunday beating Forheen the Machine over 2 miles. Jessica reports he's going to step back up to 3. How was the spin?
Yeah, no, he was fantastic yesterday, and I mean, a bit of a shock. We only ran him in that race to sharpen him up for the Stayers hurdle. And he ran a great trial for the Stayers. I was a bit surprised that he had the speed to be able to lie into Faheen and then quicken away from him after the last. But
he's a real brute, isn't he? He loves to get stuck in.
Yeah, and to be fair, yesterday he jumped unbelievably well. He's never jumped that well in his life, but I just think this year he's a different horse to the horse he was last year.
Right, and what about